Video number 2, part 2 of our chapter 10,000 to 8,000 BC of the great book Chronology of the World. And this is part of the series of videos which is completing the book in the series Great Books. And this book is Chronology of the World by Isaac Asimov. So this is part 2 of 10,000 to 8,000 BC. You can listen to part 1, which we did before. Part 2. We continue from where we stopped. It is not surprising that so many agricultural communities told of a golden age when human beings hunted and gathered in freedom and comparative idleness and wondered what had happened to evict them and force them to earn their bread by the sweat of their brow. So when the agricultural revolution came, they used to imagine what that wonderful time was, heaven, um, and wondered what had happened to evict them and force them to earn their bread by the sweat of their brow. The Hebrew tale of Eden and of the sin that caused God to curse man with agriculture is the best known of these tales, and that's how Isaac Asimov looks at it scientifically. Then, too, Adam's first two sons are depicted as Cain, a farmer, and Abel, a herdsman. The farmers increased in population faster than the herdsmen did, since the farm supplied much more food than the herds did. So we can well imagine that areas devoted to farming spread and steadily took up space that had earlier been freely used by herdsmen. The same thing happened to the American West. The same thing happened to the American West when the farmers settled the land and fenced in their plots to the discomfiture of the cowboys. No wonder the Bible pictures Cain as killing Abel. Yet, no matter how people might dislike farming and no matter how much they might long for a happier, freer day, there was no way in which agriculture could be abandoned. The population of an agricultural region quickly reached a height that could not be supported in any other way. To abandon agriculture and to try to feed the population by herding or hunting meant mass starvation. Mass starvation. Agriculture, with all its faults, gave people a reasonable chance to fill stomachs. Agriculture brought another change. Beautifully, he's writing. Beautifully. Another change. Too. Hominids had been wandering people, nomads, seeking out plants or following game, which was animal. Even when herding began, the herdsman had to wander to find good pasture for their animals. In fact, the word nomad is from a Greek word of pasture. Herdsmen or hunters could not remain in one place, for the plant life would all be eaten and the animal life would be killed or scared off. There had to be an endless search for new ground with a return to old grounds only after enough time had been given them to recover, which means fruits and everything again. For nomads, there could be no possessions that were not portable, nothing that could not be abandoned at need, nothing that would correspond to home, except for temporary sites. Obviously, some such sites, to be sure, if particularly well situated, might have gained a kind of semi permanence if it was good. And it would be in those places where it would be easier to develop agriculture. Since the growing of plants would be useless if nomads did not remain where they were for at least a few months. So, in a few months, they'll come to know, okay, we can do agriculture here. Once agriculture had been established, however, there was no question of temporary or even semi permanent sites. Now, there were plots of land that had been cleared of weeds that had been planted, that had to be tended, and that could not be moved. One might not even be able to abandon one plot for another because not all plots were equally desirable. You needed good soil and a ready supply of water. And if that was what you had, you held on to it. What's more, as the population grew, the whole fertile region was divided up into family plots. Family plots, you had to hang on to yours. Furthermore, because plots were above all immovable, farmers, unlike all preceding generations, had to adopt a completely sedentary life. They had to stay in one place. The notion of property arose for the first time. In a way, this too added a security because there was no need to find a new source of food periodically, with always the chance of not finding a satisfactory one till half the tribe had starved. Now there was the reliable plot that had supported you all your life, that had supported your father before you and your son after you. It's just like life today. Life began properly. Agriculture meant another change too. In the days of nomadism, one moving band, might meet another, and there might be a quarrel as to which band had the right to exploit the area. The matter might degenerate to a mutual display of force. This force, however, could rarely be deadly because it would quickly become apparent that one band was stronger than the other. The weaker, the weaker, foreseeing inevitable defeat, would retreat, abandon the area, and search for another. There was nothing in any one area that was worth their lives. Here we'll stop. 7 minutes will be each video, and we'll go on slowly. It's a long book, but it'll be a wonderful book. It's full of stories. This is the story continuing of the agricultural revolution. This has, I think, one more page. Yeah, one more page, one more video. Three videos will cover each chapter. There are 100 chapters, so there'll be something like 300 or 400 videos. Let them be, because each video is only 7 minutes, and we'll have a wonderful time relating all these stories via the beautiful, powerful eyes of Isaac Asimov. Thank you.